everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kayla, and if you're interested in lifestyle videos sprinkled with magic, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. May is coming to an end, but I couldn't let this month go by without acknowledging Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So in honor of AANHPI Heritage Month, let's do a full face of Asian-owned beauty. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I pulled this look together and, you know, just like discovering like some of these amazing products that I use in the video, then keep watching. I already prepped my face, and to prime my face I used Tatcha's the liquid silk canvas primer, and I only have like a little travel size of this, so I try to use this like pretty sparingly, but I do really like it. And then to set my eyes before I do eyeshadow, I usually use just like whatever concealer I'm using that day. So I used Kulfi Beauty's concealer, and I believe this is like their main match concealer, and this is in the shade Cocoa Crush, and this is actually a newer item for me and I've really been loving it. Let's go ahead and start the eyeshadow. I have 3 palettes I could use today. One is Kimchi Chic Beauty, and this palette is super pretty, but like I'm not really going for like a super colorful look today, but I do love their shadows, so I wanted to call that out. But I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these little Magic Hour palettes from M Cosmetics. One is in Magic Hour, and it's like super pinky, and I already used this in like the little TikTok video that I did. So I think for today's YouTube video I'm going to use this little palette, or maybe I'll just use both, but this one's definitely a lot more neutral, and then Magic Hour is definitely just like a little bit more pinky and just like a little bit lighter, but both super pretty palettes. Actually just gonna start off with the Magic Hour palette because I really love like this deep brown shade here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this shade. I want to say it's in the color Phoenix, but I'm not 100% sure, just like based off of how this is laid out. But anyways, gonna go in with this beautiful brown shade here, and then just work that into the outer thirds, and then also work that into the crease a little bit. Also, to help give me some like talking points or just like some things to talk about in this video, I asked ChatGPT to give me some questions to answer like in honor of AANHPI Heritage Month. And shout out to ChatGPT and like using AI for like productivity. Like I use it all the time like in work, and like it also is really helpful for content. So yeah, anyways, the first question is, what does AANHPI Heritage Month mean to you personally? And I love AANHPI Heritage Month. Like, I think I've like talked about my experience growing up Asian American in like some of my other videos that I did that are basically like the same as this one, where I use a full face of Asian-owned beauty. And I honestly just think that this month is so incredibly special because I think it just gives everyone a time to like reflect on their experiences, and then also just like celebrate their culture and like where they come from. And I think growing up, I don't know if I necessarily felt as proud to be Asian American, but as I've grown up, like I just find that it's just such an incredible honor to be Asian American. And my mom is Chinese, and then my dad is Japanese, and I've been able to learn so much about their cultures growing up. And so having this month where Asian Americans are like really in the spotlight is super special, because it's also really cool to see just like the growth of representation in the media over the years. So I personally love Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Month, and that's why I always like try to talk about it pretty consistently on my social media platforms, because I am super proud to be Asian American, and I hope this encourages you to be really proud of like your background and like where you come from and celebrate your heritage. Also, I think I said earlier in the video that this is the Divine Skies eyeshadow palette, but this is actually the Da Vinci Divine Skies eyeshadow palette. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and deepen out the outer thirds a little bit more. So I'm just gonna take this shade here and then work that into the outer thirds a little bit, just to add like a little bit more dimension. Sometimes what I like to do to kind of just like make sure everything is super blended, I like to take a clean fluffy brush and then just blend out the edges of the shadow. I think for today I'm actually feeling like a little bit of a cut crease, so I'm gonna go back in with my Kulfi Beauty concealer to just do a little half cut crease, just like my usual thing that I normally do. I haven't really done one in a while because I haven't been doing a whole lot of glam makeup, and I'm feeling one today. So I just like to take like a little thin brush here to kind of carve out that half cut crease. So what I really like to do is just kind of like carve out the half cut crease, and then because I have like a super thin brush, I could really just make sure the edges are super sharp. Also, I'm sorry, I feel like I usually can't talk when I do like my eye makeup because I have to focus. Now it's time for the half cut crease color, and I kind of want to go in with two. First I want to go in with the champagne color here on the bottom, and then I'm going to put this like all over the half cut crease first, and then I'm going to layer on top like another color just to add some just like additional dimension and flavor. Also, I know I do like my makeup like it's 2016, but I just love a good full beat sometimes, you know, like this glam is just so pretty to me. Now that that really brightens up the look a little bit, I do want to add just like another color, like I mentioned, for some spice. Okay, we're actually going to go in with the Kimchi Chic palette, and I want to go in with this really pretty like sparkly shade here. It's called Sparkle Star in the corner. Hopefully you can see, but I just want to add some like additional dimension to the eye look, and there's not really like this like glittery type of eyeshadow in the Cosmetics palettes, so we're going to take advantage of Miss Kimchi Chic over here. But I'm going to go ahead and use this sort of just like a little smaller brush so it's a little bit more controlled. Oh yeah, that adds exactly like the sparkle that we're looking for. That is so pretty. I don't know if you can see, but I feel like it just really adds some pretty dimension to the shadows, and I'm here for it. Also too, I feel like kind of adding a little bit of a transition shadow in between the inner third and then the outer third also just kind of makes it a little more blended. I want to make sure that the outer third is still really blended, so I'm still just going to go back in with the Magic Hour palette and go back in with that brown shade to just blend out the outer third into the cut crease a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So the eyeshadow is pretty much done. Now I gotta go in with some lashes, and I'm gonna use Doe Lashes. This has just been like my go-to lash brand, and I'm debating between these two styles. One is Morning Dew, and it's kind of like a little bit thinner but longer, and then I also have Moonlight, which is definitely a little bit thicker, but it still flares out in the end here. So I think I'm actually gonna go for Moonlight because it's a little bit more dramatic, and this look calls for a dramatic lash. While I'm waiting for my lashes to just be ready, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. The next question is, how has your cultural background influenced your relationship with beauty? And I feel like these questions are super like, there's no right or wrong answer, but how I want to answer the question is like, I think growing up in America, especially like in the 90s, there wasn't necessarily a lot of Asian beauty like influences, and I definitely kind of like thought, like growing up as a kid, like I thought like Caucasian girls were like super pretty, and I thought like that was like the beauty standard. Also really quickly, I'm using the Shiseido eyelash curler to curl my lashes. And like I was saying, I think like growing up, I definitely thought that Caucasian women were sort of just like the beauty standard because that's all I really saw in the media growing up. But I think like over time, we've definitely seen a lot more representation. And I mean, beauty influencers were really kind of like my first Asian influences. Like Michelle Phan, she was the OG beauty YouTuber, and she of course is Asian American. Like being in the YouTube beauty space was really the place where I found my Asian American influences. And so I guess what I'm trying to say though is that being exposed to Asian American beauty influencers really sort of just like expanded my mind a lot more. The lashes are done, but like I was saying, it made me realize too that there's like not a singular beautiful race, and we are all beautiful no matter like what shape, size, ethnicity. Like growing up, like when you're a kid, like that's hard if you just like look at the media that you're consuming or looking at like the books that you're reading and like everyone is Caucasian. And that's why I truly think that representation is so important, because it's really important for kids to see themselves being represented in books to just make them feel like they can do anything that they set their mind to. And yeah, like being exposed to the OG beauty influencers, I feel like really helped that. Like I've watched Michelle Phan, I've watched Whaley, like I love Sophia Chang, and I also really love Jen Im. So shout out to all of the like OG Asian baddies here on YouTube, and that's why I feel like it's like so cool for me to kind of like be a beauty influencer-ish in a way, or just like have a space on the internet, because like this is where I found comfort growing up. I feel like that took me so long to answer, but anyways, let's get into the base makeup. So first I'm gonna go in with my under eyes, and I'm gonna go back in with my Kulfi Beauty Concealer, and like I said, just like work that into my under eyes. Also, this concealer is so amazing. Like I think it's actually supposed to be a setting concealer, so it'll set itself. I don't really know if that's true, honestly, but I love the way the coverage looks, and it's not too like heavy and cakey. I think that actually is like so gorgeous. And for my base, I was debating if I wanted to go in with the Tower 28 Sunny Days Broad Spectrum SPF or the M Cosmetics Daydream Cushion, and I think I'm just gonna go in with the M Cosmetics Daydream Cushion because it just has a little bit more coverage, and again, this look just calls for like a little bit more coverage. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. The next question is, what stereotypes or misconceptions, oh my gosh, misconceptions have you faced as an Asian American woman, especially related to appearance or identity? I don't know if this is necessarily related to like appearance or identity, but I do think that just like kind of being an Asian American woman, especially, or maybe even just like a woman in general, but especially for Asian American women, I think that there's kind of just like this expectation that you'll be very mild and meek and like not stick up for yourself, and you're supposed to kind of just go along with the flow and like do as you're told. And I feel like this has showed up like a lot like in the workplace. Like people don't expect me to be like such a force, but your girl is. And this also just kind of like ties into the bigger thing of like, I don't think that there's a lot of Asian representation like in corporate America. Like there is barely even just like women representation in corporate America, but like especially for women of color to be elevated and promoted in the workplace, I think is like very far and few between. And I've been at a few companies where there have been a lot of Asian American representation in corporate America in a leadership position, but there's still a lot of work to be done. I've definitely seen firsthand that people have just been dismissed or like overlooked, but we have a lot of power to give. So I hope like if you are also kind of experiencing the same thing in the workplace, to remember to like stick up for yourself and just fight for what's right, because you have a voice and you also deserve to be heard. Because again, kind of like what I was saying about representation in the media, I think it's just really important for there to be diverse thoughts and like different backgrounds and perspectives like when making business decisions, because at the end of the day, your product, you don't want to sell to like one specific person, like you want to sell to a lot of different people, which is why I think that like hearing all those diverse perspectives is really important. The base is on and I feel like the skin is looking super nice, but we definitely need to add some color back into my face. So I'm gonna go in with some bronzer, and I'm gonna go in with Patrick Ta's Double Take Cream and Powder Blush, but it's actually like a bronzer, so we're gonna use it as a bronzer. But this is in the shade She's So LA, and first I'm gonna go in with the cream bronzer and then just like work that into my cheeks. Also, I feel like this would be a really good bronzing shade for some people with like darker complexions, but I have like a really light complexion, so this works for me like as a bronzer. Also, I also just want to say really quickly too that these are just my experiences as an Asian American woman, and I just shared these experiences because maybe there's someone out there who can kind of like relate to like what I'm going through and feel like they're not alone. So I just want to clarify that really quickly. Also, I don't know if you can tell right now, but like I feel like my body is so much darker than like my face, but it is summer and I've been like running a lot, so obviously I've been outdoors, so we can't control that. Moving on to blush, I'm gonna go back in with another Patrick Ta product, but I'm gonna use their blush in She's That Girl. So pretty. Like this is honestly like my typical blush shade. I just think it like really complements my skin and just looks really pretty and kind of like natural-ish. Yeah, that's pretty. And lately I've been really liking to make sure I blend my blush like up into my concealer so it looks like really blended. I love that like over blushed look. Moving on to powder to kind of like set my under eyes and like my T-zone a little bit, I'm gonna go in with my translucent powder from One Size Beauty. And then I'm gonna work that into my under eyes. And then I also like to put a little in like my T-zone just because I feel like I get kind of oily there. Okay, since the powder is on, I'm going to go back in with the powder blush. And I don't know why, I just like typically don't go back in with powder bronzer unless I'm like going out, but I'm honestly not doing anything today. So I'll just do no powder bronzer. But anyways, going back in with the powder blush, tap off the excess. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. The next question is, are there any AANHPI creators, brands, or figures that inspire you? That is such a good question. One of like my OG kind of like beauty influencers that I absolutely love and still love and support to this day is Bretman Rock. I'm obsessed with him. I actually met him one time. So if I find that picture, I will show a picture right here of us together. It was a very, very long time ago, but he was so sweet and I just really love the way that he's carried himself like throughout his career. Like he's always really just like stayed true to himself and stayed really authentic and humble and grounded. He's just so unproblematic and he's also just so authentic with like what he likes and he doesn't try to like pretend anything. So Bretman Rock will probably like never watch this, but I love you, Bretman. Also, I like to put a little bit of powder blush on my nose. Oh, so cute. Now time to go in for some powder blush, and today I'm actually going to go in with my Cosmetics Sunscape highlighter in Clarity. How pretty is this? I think it's just like such a pretty kind of like bronzy glowy highlighter instead of like a blinding highlighter. Hopefully that makes sense. Also, I want to go in with another highlighter and I want to use the One Size Fantasia highlighter. I think this is called Bit of Magic highlighter. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Before we move on to the next question, and I also put on my lips, I do want to share some other creators that I've just like really been loving. And most of these people, I will say, I did find them on TikTok because I'm like on TikTok like all the time. But anyways, the first person I want to shout out is Kendall Sayuri Yokohama. And this is actually, I wouldn't say she's necessarily a content creator. She is a Broadway star and she plays Eliza on the North American tour of Hamilton. And she is so amazing. She's so incredibly talented. I do wish I saw her when they were actually in the city, but I love her TikTok content because I feel like she is always so vocal about being Asian American on Broadway and also being in a lead role. And I also really just love how she talks a lot about the Japanese American experience and everything with the internment camp. So love her and I love her content. And I have like a few Disney creators that I love, and the first person is Thaddeus Fatty Bears. I hope I'm saying that right, but I love him so much. I feel like he is just a burst of energy. He brings so much light and positivity, and I always really enjoy seeing what he's doing and like seeing like the experiences that he gets to go to. So shout out to you, Thaddy. And someone else I absolutely love is Cinderbells. What is her name? Oh my gosh. Is anyone else like that where they know people by their handle and like not their actual name? Because same. But anyways, Cinderbells, aka Bella, she is so cute. One, I absolutely love her Disney style. I think her makeup always looks amazing and her outfits are also super cute. Another thing that I really respect and admire her for is her being super vulnerable and sharing her cancer experience. She is a cancer survivor and she's been really open and vocal about that. So shout out to you, Bella. I love seeing your content so much. And another creator I want to share is Hello Sam Designs, and I've talked about her a lot on my channel, but I just like love her as a person, and I think I have so much respect for her as a business person. I mean, I'm literally using her pop socket right now, but I have so much respect for how hard she works, and I think she is so creative and so incredibly talented, so I want to shout her out. And another kind of like person within that space is Simji, and I don't even know how I came across her videos, but she actually creates rugs and she gives them to other people, and like sometimes she'll do a trade for them. Like she's given them to like NBA players, she's given them to like companies, like I think she did one for Chick-fil-A, and she's also given rugs to like characters at theme parks, like she's given one to Chewbacca. I know she gave one to the Grinch during Christmas time, so I think she's just super cool, and again, like super talented. Another creator that I want to shout out is Noelle Venegas. I hope I'm saying her name right, but she is essentially like a lifestyle creator, and I just really enjoy her content. I love how confident she is, I love how creative she is, and she has just like such a cool aesthetic. And I also discovered her because she does do like some Disney content, so I kind of love seeing like the different outfits that she puts together. I have three main beauty influencers or beauty creators that I want to shout out. The first one is Jenica. She is so stunning, and I just love seeing all of her beauty recommendations because she has such flawless and gorgeous skin. So shout out to you, Jenica. And another creator that I love seeing is Monica Ravichandran, and I love how inclusive she is, and I really love how she creates a voice in the beauty community for brown people and really highlights how there is a gap of beauty products in the industry for brown people or like people with darker complexion. And I just love her personality. I think she's so fierce and sassy, so I love her. Sorry if the camera angle is a little bit different, I had to like change out the battery pack. I have a few more creators I wanted to shout out. The first one is Kathy Nguyen, and I love her beauty content. I discovered her from like her lip combo videos, and I just love seeing all of the makeup products that she uses, and I also really like her style, and also I just think that her personality is super fun. And the last creator that I actually want to shout out is Rose Tanaka, and super random, but she is essentially a like work from home or like a work vlog girly, and I don't know why, but I just like find her videos so aesthetic and so calming, and I love seeing her experience and like how passionate she is about work, and I always love seeing her desk setup. So kind of a random one, but I also just like wanted to throw her in there because I've really been liking her content. Let's go ahead and move on to the lip combo, and we will answer the last question, but let me do the lip combo first because for a lip combo I think I can't like talk. Something that I've been doing before I put on my lip combo, especially if I'm going out, is I'll take my little puff that I've used and just like whatever excess is on there and then pat my lips. And for my lip combo today, we're going to use Tower 28 products. For the lip liner, I'm going to use Tower 28's lip liner in Work of Art. And this is just like a really pretty like nude rose shade, and I absolutely love it. And we need to put some lips on because I look crazy right now. And then after I finish lining my lips, I kind of just like to smudge it a little bit. It just looks a little better to me. Anyways, for my lip gloss today, I'm going to use Tower 28's Shine On Lip Jelly, and this is in the shade Cashew, and this used to be like one of my like go-to products. Sort of just like a really pretty like pinky mauvey but also nude color, and I think this is like a really good lip combo. Perfect match. And the look is done. Now that the makeup look is done, let's go ahead and answer this last question. And the last question is, what's one thing you want others to understand about the AANHPI community? And I think what I would say is that ultimately what I want people to understand and know is that Asians are not a monolith. And I mean, I'm guilty of this myself, but I'm speaking from the East Asian experience. But I think a lot of the representation in media tends to be East Asians, and there are so many other communities in the Asian American community. Like there is the Pacific Islander community, there is the Southeast Asian community, there is the South Asian community. Like there is so many beautiful cultures that make up the Asian American community. And by also saying that Asians are not a monolith, I hope people learn to understand and celebrate and appreciate where people come from and learn more about each other's backgrounds, because I feel like we just have so much to learn from each other. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and end on that note, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and shout out to ChatGPT for coming up with these really thoughtful questions. And if you guys are Asian American and want to reflect on these questions as well, I'll go ahead and leave them all in the description box below. But also, if you're not Asian American and kind of want to make it to your ethnic background, I think it also would just be a really good opportunity for you to reflect about how your heritage and your background has impacted the way you view the world, and also like how the world views you. Wow, I feel like that was really deep. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video here, but again, happy Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about me, but then also found some exciting new beauty products to try. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comments if there are other Asian creators that you think I should check out. I would absolutely love to know. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video from me, and let's stay connected. Follow me on my socials, the Butch's Kayla's Ever After, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!